That's right, family. Black Power. Black Power is the true power with General Sarasun Seti. Kick back. Get your mind ready for some information that's guaranteed to be heavy. That's right, family. We're excited and delighted to be accepted members to the Sarasun Seti YouTube page, a dynamic page. Of course, you already know the work that we've been putting in today. Dynamic as it is, we just roll. We just rolling, piling it up. Nothing but wisdom and knowledge for the people. You see what I'm saying? So we want you to become a member. You go right there into the video description. You can go right there into the chat. You click the join button, and you'll get an introduction video rundown on the membership. Become a member. If you see one that you like, and even if you don't, we appreciate you at the Sarasun Seti YouTube page. Continue to engage. Continue to advance. That's right. It's going down this Sunday. I want you in the house, front row and center. Freemasonry exposed, a shocking revelation. And we're going to run down. In a matter of fact, I'm going to have a preview, and I'm going to make sure I have it by tomorrow. I'm going to run it down for the family early on what it all entails, what you're going to get. You understand what I'm saying? In this live stream, I guarantee you it cannot be duplicated nowhere on the planet. You see, we're nowhere on the planet. So we want you in the house, family. And the very following Sunday, that's right, we coming with the making of a nigga. We got to know how they made the nigga so we can unmake him. And it's so raw, it only can be shown. GeneralSeti.ticketleap.com. You got to come in to see this one. This is most definitely raw information, but that's how we got to have it. If we want truth, we got to have it raw. So I want you to go to GeneralSeti.ticketleap.com and get your tickets today. Ring the alarm, KingSeti.com online marketplace. We talking about over what am I talking about? We talking about 25% off selected items at this time. Official General Seti DVD lectures, t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies. We got that for your family. We got a new collection on the site of handmade African necklaces and bracelets from beads, African beads that come straight from Ghana. We want you in the house. I believe we got some from Nigeria too. So we want you in the house. We want you to check it out. Go to jewelry, scroll down to African beads, and you can see the new collection. And I put it on my Facebook, IG, and YouTube. Check it out, family. Powerful, handmade by our own family in Africa. And we got 25% off at this time. This is the time to shop and get something you like. That's right. Pull the fire alarm, GeneralSeti.com, Seti University. We're talking about over 1,000 videos on African history, heritage, spirituality, nation building, mental warfare, advanced African academics, developing the Black nation one lesson at a time to complete. General Sarasun Seti website. I want you in class today, not tomorrow, today. You see, and so with all the subjects that you know and love, you cannot go wrong with this. You can watch 2 videos almost 3 years straight every day and not watch the same video twice. When you got that kind of power, then you know. You see, the collection is real, the wisdom is real, and real. And so all I want you to do is go check it out and guarantee you that, you know, everything else speak for itself. GeneralSeti.com. Seti popping on Patreon. BPC making noise. We never calm. Exclusive live stream. Too hot to handle on YouTube, but just so exquisite. We keep it for our family on Patreon. We dropped a Secret Invasion review. Our shapeshifters real, synthetic ops in the Black community. Is it too late to tell who real and who isn't? You wonder why these niggas don't listen to logic, because they are not real. They're synthetic ops in the Black community. You better think about it. You better look into it before it's too late. We also drop Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Hippie Buddha exposed the Korean theft of African identity. Get into it. We done drove them crazy. We done showed the original Naga Kushites, and so they done came up with a goddamn a nappy perm to make it look like they the woolly head Buddha, but we on top of them. We ain't gonna give them no way out. You see what I'm saying? So I want you over there at Patreon. Check it out tonight. We'll be dropping, did the Viking runes evolve from the ancient Egyptian Medu Netta. This is going to be so powerful. I got it stacked with some of, some exquisite visuals. Family, you cannot go wrong. I want to see you on Patreon today. Become a patron and get this work. And then you got access, as you join, you got access to over 185 videos already. I believe it's over 200 live streams exclusive to Patreon. Make sure you subscribe to all my YouTube channels, King Seti, General Seti, Sarasun Seti. Rock that notification bell. Get a video a thumbs up. Like it because you love it. Share with your family and friends. And comment. Just don't say nothing stupid because I will ban your ass. You'll be up out of there. Now we dealing with Osiris, Buddha, and Krishna. 3 of the 16 crucified saviors. Osiris being the oldest man God that he was crucified. You see, and resurrected from the dead. But you got to understand what it is. Ain't no goddamn flesh coming out of the ground. You see what I'm saying? You got to understand this is solar mythos. But we're going to break it down. It is portrayed in anthropomorphism, in human form. We'll break it down for you just so that you'll know that. And we take that solar anthropomorphism and we attach our own being to that we would resurrect and rise like the great Father. The Son would also resurrect and rise. You see, the very following day, the Son is the oldest resurrection story on the planet. You see, that's how you know how you resurrect through your Son. You see, you resurrect through your Son. That's how you resurrect. Or you can resurrect through your daughter also. You can resurrect through your daughter also. Okay? But resurrection is your seed coming back, you see, on the planet. And so many of these motherfuckers did not resurrect. You see, they did not resurrect. Okay? And that's why we have to break that down so we have proper understanding. Okay? Ain't nobody raising up from out no goddamn ground. You see what I'm saying? That won't happen unless they put your ass down there dead. You was alive when you went down in there and they didn't realize it. And many motherfuckers be on the coffin, beaten. You understand what I'm saying? Talking about let me, but it's too late. You see you down in there unless you're going to dig your ass up out of that goddamn grave and come to the planet. You see? Nah, let's deal with this. And why are we bringing it up? Because we are showing that all of these messiahs, just like we show with the temple, improve beyond any doubt through the Masonic calculations that all sanctuaries on the planet come out the Nile. I'm sorry to tell you that. All sanctuaries on the planet come out of the Nile. We done laid the Masonic calculations out there, and nobody can refute it, even if they wanted to. They could not refute it. But today we're going to back it up. We're going to back it up with the receipts that all these crucified saviors are nothing but renditions of Osiris, who is nothing but a rendition of Ra, the immortal sun deity of ancient Egypt. Okay, we're going to deal with that. Now, let's listen. Now, this is from Diodorus Siculus, okay, who was a Greek historian who flourished in the 1st century BC. 1st century BC. Now, let's deal with this. It says, Osiris, being come to the borders of Ethiopia, raised high banks on either side of the river, lest in the time of his inundation, it should overflow the country more than was convenient, and make it marshy and boggy, and made floodgates to let in the water by degrees as far as was necessary. Listen, Thence he passed through Arabia. See? And we talked about how the Nile, see, went, and I always told you that it went into Arabia, Southern Arabia first, then going into India, then going up into what today they call the Persian Gulf, into Mesopotamia. Okay? Thence he passed through Arabia, bordering upon the Red Sea as far as India and the utmost coasts that were inhabited. He built likewise many cities in India. Who? Osiris. Likewise, he built many cities in India, one of them called Nisa. Let me pronounce that right. Nisa. Willing to have a remembrance of that in Egypt, where he was brought up. This Nisa in India, he planted ivy, which grows and remains here only of all other places in India or the parts adjacent. He left likewise many other marks of his being in those parts, by which the latter's inhabitants, listen right there. See, this is Diodorus Siculus in the 1st century said this, by which the latter inhabitants are induced to believe and do affirm that this God was born in India. See, the latter inhabitants, the ones that's here today, are the latter inhabitants. You see, but the Naga Kushites, who were the primordials in the land, they knew that it was an African God. But see, the latter inhabitants today, not knowing the ancient traditions of the Kushites, they just got the modern rendition of it. So today, they call Osiris Krishna. You understand what I'm saying? Buddha. You see, Buddha and Krishna have a lot of the attributes and many of the other, crucified saviors. You understand? Let's black it up now. Let's black it up. We ain't just going to say something out of our mouth and don't, even when we dealing with the term Naga. Okay, even when we dealing with the term Naga. Now, a lot of people think, you could go right to Sudan today. You see, Sudan, you got Naga, royal city of ancient Sudan. Okay? A royal city. See? So you got the Naga in Asia. You got the Naga in for all intents and purposes, it's the same terminology. It's really nothing. Because even, in ancient Egypt, you see what they call the Naga serpentine body. You see that in Egypt before India. See, so we got to stop playing with that. In Egypt, and see, a lot of people, what they try to do is they try to make an assumption that Mesopotamia, they try to make all them civilizations come about right around the same time, right around 3000 BC. That's a bunch of bullshit. Egypt is tens of thousands of years older than India and goddamn Mesopotamia. Okay? We talking about the pyramids, the Great Pyramids was built around, talking about around 2500 BC, according to the Cro-Magnon Neanderthal. Okay? And when you look at the knowledge in them damn pyramids, those pyramids is at least over 500,000 years of evolution, architectural evolution. So when you talk about 2500 BC, that ain't when it began. That's the end date. That ain't got nothing to do with all the knowledge. And it's so ancient that they would rather say, because they got to say where it came from, how it evolved, and they don't want to say Africa. They'll rather say a goddamn alien landed on the planet and gave people the goddamn knowledge, because they know how long it would have taken for them, for that kind of knowledge to have developed. Now, don't get me wrong. I study ancient India. I do. There's a lot of knowledge there. You see, that was laid there from our people. No doubt about it. You see? No doubt about it. But there's no comparison at all. You see? So when we start seeing some similarities, and you see the similarity, is coming from Africa into Asia. And when you look, even when you look at you can look at the elephant, you can look at the lion. You can see, even as animals went into Asia, how they literally, because, Asia is really mountainous. You got some tropical areas in there, but that's primarily southern, the southeastern part of Asia. You see what I'm saying? Southern India and on into, you see Burma, Cambodia, Vietnam, Indonesia, all through there. You understand? That's the tropical aspect. You see what I'm saying? But once you go above that, you in the goddamn mountains. You see what I'm saying? So the animal life in Asia, outside of those particular areas, they don't have the type of vegetate. They don't have the type of food that they got in Africa. A goddamn lion can hunt on the goddamn savannah endlessly. That's why they bigger than the Asian lion. That's why the damn African elephant is far larger than the Asian elephant. That's showing you that, is areas in there where, like I said, but there are vast areas where it's not on the level of Africa. No way, no how. You see? And why am I saying it? Because I'm showing you which direction is, the orientation of knowledge is moving from. It's not moving from Mesopotamia, like the Bible say. It's not moving from India to Africa, like the Hindus say. He's the latter inhabitant and got enough nerve to open up his goddamn mouth and say that India's and more ancient than Africa. And when all you had to do is compare the temples, the dates and shit on the temples. Let's be real. I just want to be real. For the most part, and I looked it up based on the Indian over in India, that they really don't even have no temples in the BC period. Now, the ones that were more ancient, let it be clear that the Naga Kushite that's in the land that built a lot of temples in southern India, those were other Naga Kushite. They didn't destroy a lot of them temples. The ones that are still there show you that it's an Egyptian temple. Once you lay it out, I done broke it down for you. It's an Egyptian temple. I dare any one of them over there at any given time, whatever the guy's name, Privan, Mohan, if he ever, I'm going to tag his ass in this one right here. And at any point in time, he want any of the heat from General Seti, I'll serve his ass on a platter. You understand what I'm saying? I get out the best dish work that we got. I serve his ass on a golden platter if that's what he want. You see what I'm saying? And show him without any doubt that, that what is over there. And like I say, some of it is of our people. And so I'm not disrespecting it at all, but he's not the author of it. He's not the author of it. You see what I'm saying? And when you break down the Masonic blueprint of the temple, somebody got to come up with the fact of how does an Egyptian temple get in southern India? Unless somebody went to Egypt and studied, or unless the priests of Egypt came to India and built the damn temple. Ain't no other way around that. Okay? So we just coming with the heat so we understand that what's there is of our people. Okay? It is of our people. And we can break that down. So when we say Naga, a lot of people, they assume, even when we attach it to nigger, that we leeching off of India. That's what a lot of people say. Oh man, y'all just trying to latch on. So we have to show that Naga, the term Naga, was in Africa long before it was in India or Asia. And it ain't just in India. Let me be clear about that too. It's not just in India. So for any nation over there, that's using the term. They got it from Africa. So when you say Naga, and so again, we looked up the term, where you got the Gnostic. They found a collection of Gnostic manuscripts. The Gnostics, the knowers of truth, were, an occult, you might as well say an occult sect of Christianity. They had, some occult understanding that, and so they call them the Gnostics. And they found a collection of their scrolls in a city in Africa called Nag Hammadi. Okay, Naga Hammadi, to show you that this term Naga was in Africa long. Now, when you look at it, you see the semblance of Nag Hammadi and Nag Champa. Now, I done showed y'all many times before that Ham and Cham is the same thing. So you see there that the language of Africa and India is technically, in many instances, the same. It's exact. Ain't no refuting that. You see what I'm saying? You could tell that they had been going back and forth for a long time. You see what I'm saying? Now, we ain't talking about the latter inhabitants, which Diodorus Siculus clearly identified. You see what I'm saying? And he was over there in the 1st century AD. So he was over there, he had put a dividing line in between those that was in there in the 1st century AD and called them the latter inhabitants. And we talking about the first. So how long was the Naga Kushites over there before they came into the land? That's a good question. You see, so you got Nag Hammadi, and so which is the same in many instances of Nag Champa. That good instance that is Naga Champa. Nag Champa, Nag Ham and Cham is the same word, period. Okay, and so we showing the semblance and so just like, and here you got Nagas, the ancient rulers of India. So there you see that it identifies rulership. You see that they were rulers. Nagas, the ancient rulers of India. Who are those ancient rulers? Who are the ancient rulers of India? The Naga Kushites. Okay. Now in that, when you go to Ethiopia, you got the term Negus, Nagas, King of Kings. Even in there, this is a words that denotes royalty. You see sovereignty. Okay. When you go into Asia, you got the term Nigara, which means national. You see what I'm saying? It means national. So when you see right here, it says Bank Negara, Malaysia. It's the National Bank of Malaysia. So in that instance, it means national. So you see it's symbolic of government. It's symbolic of government in certain instances. So you see it's sovereign. It denotes sovereignty. It denotes rulership. It denotes national institution. So with nowhere do we see that is negative, only in the personification of the Cro-Magnon Neanderthal. Okay, only in the personification of the Cro-Magnon Neanderthal. And so now, when we come to Osiris, let's see. Let's get here. Now, in the Bible, we got to know that the constellation of Orion is sacred to Osiris. And there are 7 stars in Osiris. In the Bible, it says, seek he who, I believe, created the 7 stars of Orion. It's in the Bible. I'm paraphrasing in that instance. So you see that the 7 stars and then you come into the Naga Kush and you see the Buddha. You see the Buddha with what? 7 Nagas above his head. See, what in that instance, you got to understand the 7 Nagas above the head of Buddha is symbolic of the constellation of Orion. You see? So you see an instance that he's adopted the sacred characteristics of the great god Osiris. Okay, and many of the attributes, even when you talk about, because you will see Osiris blue. You see the blue Osiris. You see that's symbolic of him being a sky god, also being a god of water. And what water? We talking about the celestial Nile. You see, we talking about the celestial Nile. You see, and you see many times, even in Dendera, you see Osiris is sailing on the, but that's how you get to a mentor. You got to sail upon the celestial Nile, and you start on the earthly Nile. You see the Pharaoh, he got his ark, his boat right outside his pyramid. His spirit takes to that ark and he sails. And a lot of people don't understand that the earthly Nile is connected to the celestial Nile. It goes up into the mountains and it keeps going up. And the Pharaoh sails through the Milky Way. You see, that's what they call it, the Milky Way, which is sacred to Heru, the cow goddess. Sailed through the Milky Way. And in that Milky Way, which our ancestors knew from ancient time, was the center of the galaxy. See, that's the difference between the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. The southern hemisphere is the center of our galaxy, okay? And so the most sacred of all the constellations is in the south. And so that's why our people was oriented to the south. That's why when you see in the ancient scripts, you see the peoples is sailing down up the river. They're going into the interior of Africa, up through the mountains, up into the celestial southern hemisphere, through the Milky Way, to be one with the Holy Mother and Holy Father, Osiris and Isis, okay, in the southern hemisphere. So that's what was our orientation. And so you see that Osiris was blue, but he was also green. He was also black. He was also black. Black is the color of the most sacred color of divinity. Okay, the greens is symbolic of vegetation. You see the rebirth, the spring, the rebirth of vegetation. That's how we live. You see, and so it was most necessary to give all honor to Osiris as the Lord of vegetation, rebirth on the planet. This is where you get your spring holidays. This is where you get the resurrection of Christ. You see, and so this is the resurrection period when spring back to life and vegetation began to sprout and to feed the people. And so we had to pray to Osiris. And then you got the blue. Then you got the black. You see, and that's of black matter of the universe. The first abode of the Almighty. You see, and all the deities of ancient time. Let me blow this up even more. Yeah. And so you see again here, you see the seven Buddhas. Now you see here, you see Jesus as supposedly one of the crucified saviors. And you see the mummification in ancient Egypt. Now we understand mummification. If Jesus was mummified, where the fuck is his body at? We got mummies all over the planet. You can see they stealing, but they don't have the sacred skills and attributes to really do these things. You see, they show him wrapped up as a mummy, but no, his body can't be found, even though they say flesh and blood cannot enter into heaven. Cannot enter in heaven. So where's his body at? And then when you read the damn books, some of the books say that he was with the disciples to the very end. So if he disappeared and that the body should have still been there. Where's the body? They don't have it. They don't have it. They didn't, and they was right there. So where's his body? They don't have it because he never existed. You see, and so you see this pale thing that supposedly is Christ, and you understand what I'm saying? Been crucified for your sin. If you believe that anything that looked like that died for you, nigga, died for you, and some sins that you don't even possess, you didn't have nothing to do with none of that garbage. You mean to tell me that's what you waiting on to come back, nigga? You deserve everything you got coming to you. You better wake your ass up. They done stole it. And so you see here at the bottom, you see Krishna. You see Krishna at the bottom. You understand what I'm saying? On the dead level. On the dead level. You see the serpents above his head. You see the serpent right there on the forehead of Osiris. You see the crucified Messiah. Okay, all of them is nothing but renditions of the great overlord. You see right there again, you see right there, that's Tutankhamun, King Tut. You see his bar right there on the side of him. You see Horus, and so you see different renditions of the same thing, showing you that they got the zoomorphic form, you got the anthropomorphic form. He is the Horus. You see, he is the Horus. And just like Horus, as the sun would resurrect, you understand what I'm saying? So would the Ka, so would the Ba resurrect. You understand what I'm saying? And move on to the afterlife. You see right there again, Krishna on the dead level. You see, and you can see the serpents all around through there. You can see the bed of serpents right there. And you see right there the king cobra sitting on the forehead of Tutankhamun. This is another great king of Egypt. And on the dead level, you see Horus. See, that's the zoomorphic form of the story. You got a cosmological, which is Ra. You got the zoomorphic, which is Heru as the falcon. You see what I'm saying? And then you got the anthropomorphic rendition of the resurrection as the Pharaoh himself. And many times you will see the phallus erect. You see, because that's the true erection, resurrection. You see what I'm saying? They deify procreation. Unlike the goddamn Cro-Magnon, who got all these goddamn nasty, paintings on the walls and shit, this, that, and the third. What we see our peoples is making the correction today. They were saying we're going to go into extermination if we go this way. You see, you didn't gave up on resurrection to, in an instance, to live out the decadent lives, and to make way for decadent lives and immoral livelihoods and shit to exist on the planet. So we got to go back to ourselves, our divine self. You see? And so again, when you look at here, and so you see here the green Ptah, which is another form. You see the green Buddha, renewal, spring, rebirth. You see the green Osiris. You see green Buddha. Okay. Then you see the blue. Now today, Krishna is blue. Okay. Horus as the sky god. See, you get, and so even when you look at all the deities that are the crucified saviors, they got one as a child. You got the child Jesus, you got the child Krishna, you got the child Horus, and then you got Horus as a man. You got Krishna as a man. You got Jesus as a man, and then you got the mother. And not only do you got the Holy Mother, then you got the what they call it. It's almost like, what is that? I don't want to call it it's almost like a nanny. It ain't a nanny, but I forget the term, because Heru was played that role for Aset. You see what I'm saying? While she was doing her duty, Heru would help raise Horus. You see what I'm saying? And so you got these, like, I forget the name, it's a divine name that they use. You see, and so you see here, you see the statue of Horus and Aset, and then you see they say Yashoda, okay, the foster mother. Okay, I'll use that term, foster mother. Okay, Yashoda, okay, and you see Krishna. So the symbolism is there. Now look at this one, which is so profound. You see Horus in the sun. See, that show you that our babies, that the S-O-N and the S-U-N is one and the same. One is flesh. And you see that the young Horus inside of the sun is black, divine. See, it show you the essence of that Christ spirit. And you see the serpents, you see the sun. Now you go over here to Krishna and you see this deity that's raising him up out of the ocean. And you see him, in the basket, and you see the serpents, you see he's raised, and you see Aset and Nephthys, you see they raising the the young child Horus, and you see this deity raising Krishna, and you see the serpents, they stealing. It's the same rendition, you see? And so you see here baby Krishna, and then you see, I know I didn't put the Jesus, but you see the baby Horus, what they call Hippocrates. You see Hippocrates. That's and that which later will become Jesus. Which later will become Jesus. A lot of people don't break. They don't put that in there neither. Hippocrates was the one that would become the Serapis Jesus, baby Jesus. Hippocrates. See? Yeah, you see the Europeans. So you got the Greek, so you got the Greek Serapis, then they transferred Isis to the Theotokos, and then you got Hippocrates. You had Hippocrates, you had Serapis, and you had the Greek Isis. That was the first white trinity that they created. And then they transferred the Serapis and the white Isis and the white Hippocrates into what you see today as Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. You see, you know what? But they knocked Joseph out of there. You see what I'm saying? Really is, but because God is a spirit, you understand when and they won't reflect him as a man. Then we have to use Joseph in his place. So with these are no doubt that all of these stories, so we blacken it up, that they come up out of the Nile. The Nile is the source of all of these stories. Now they take it and they mix it, and so we can't take the story as a whole, but the characters and the story have been replaced by their own, creations. And so we can't say, oh, this is, but the elements of the story is all coming out of Africa. Okay, the elements of the story is coming, and the personages are coming all out of Africa. They have been renamed and redefined. They keep some of the original attributes, but they have been renamed and redefined. So I don't want to see you got to understand that. But when it went into India, it was straight up Nile Valley. It was straight up Nile. They was worshiping Osiris, Isis, and Horus. They wasn't worshiping no Krishna. That's the latter inhabitants. I'm going to end with this. And you see right here again, you see Krishna, you see Yashoda, which is his step. I guess that's his foster mother. But we're going to read this one more time so you understand this in our mouth. Osiris, what did this one say right here? Did I need to say with that? No, I don't. Yeah, it did. And at the end of this one right here on this one, and this is coming from Diodorus Siculus of the 1st century, and I ain't going to read through all of that, but I'm going to come down there to what he said to conclude. Osiris, having traveled through the whole world by finding out food fit and convenient for man's body, was a benefactor of all mankind. This is coming from a Cro-Magnon Neanderthal in the 1st century. But I'm going to read it once again, where it says that thence he passed through Arabia, bordering upon the Red Sea, as far as India and the utmost coast that were inhabited. He built likewise many cities in India. Who? Osiris. He built likewise many cities in India. Who? Osiris. One of which he called Nisa, willing to have a remembrance of that in Egypt where he brought up. And this Nisa in India, he planted ivy, which grows and remains here only of all other places in India or the parts adjacent. He left likewise many other marks of his being in those parts, such as them temples that you see over there, and the language that he left over there, by which, now listen, which the latter inhabitants are induced to believe and do affirm that this God was born in India. So if the man went in there in the 1st century BC, and he's referring to the people in the 1st BC as the latter inhabitants, how ancient is the Naga Kushites in India? How ancient? See, they don't want to talk about that. Tell Prevon we want to get with him whenever he ready, at any given time, anytime he's ready. Goddamn it, put his goddamn hashtag. I'm gonna put it in and tell him to get with me. You understand what I'm saying? That motherfucker gonna be bound down. Seti, I don't want no beef with you, Seti. We know you God. We know you God. We don't want no beef with the African deities. We know you God. I know you know, Prevon. Get with me. You see what I'm saying? All right, family, we had a beautiful night today. You understand what I'm saying? I'm getting ready to go on Patreon. Y'all should come check me out. I'm gonna get down right around, probably around 9:30. Should be in the house. This is General Osiris and Seti saying, hey, arm yourself with knowledge. Bang on that wicked ass beast daily. What did brother say? What creates the one? We must rise up. What means to, yeah. Okay. What this man? Risen common service, period, death, grave. Okay. All right. All right. Good. All right. I don't see. Yeah, Billy Carson don't want none of me. Yeah, he don't want none. That nigga running. That nigga see me coming. He gonna jump on the first goddamn spaceship about this motherfucker. He understand that motherfucker gonna be calling the Anunnaki. Said this nigga said he on my ass. Anunnaki, send me down one of these spaceships and get me up out of here while I got a chance. All right, family. This get me out of here, dog. This nigga don't know. He don't want none. He don't want none of this heat. Nigga, I can dance on my feet, nigga. You know what I'm saying? When I push the shove, I can dance on my feet. I don't need, you know what I'm saying? We could just have a conversation and it'll turn into a bloodbath. You feel what I'm saying? This is General Osiris and Seti saying, hey, arm yourself with knowledge, bang on that wicked ass beast daily, liberation through African education and confrontation. Black power.